In 1901, a crew of sponge divers was battered by a storm near the tiny Greek island of Antikythera. When the sea calmed, they dove, and instead of sponges, they found a 2,000-year-old shipwreck heavy with bronze and marble. Among the treasure lay a corroded lump of metal that no one could explain. For decades, it sat in a museum drawer, ignored. Then someone put it under an X-ray, and the image that came back rewrote the entire history of technology. Inside were more than 30 interlocking bronze gears, cut with a precision the world would not match again for over 1,000 years. They call it the antikythera mechanism. You turned a hand crank, and its dials showed the exact position of the sun, the moon, and the 5 planets the ancients knew, on any date you chose. It predicted solar and lunar eclipses years in advance. It even tracked the 4-year cycle of the Olympic Games. It is, without exaggeration, the world's first known computer, built over 2,000 years ago. When modern engineers finally understood it, many refused to believe it was real. Nothing this complex appears anywhere again until the great astronomical clocks of medieval Europe, 14 centuries later. So who built it? And what else did they know that we were never taught? These are the ancient machines that should not exist. To find the answer, we go to the ancient world's Silicon Valley, the Egyptian city of Alexandria, home to the greatest library and the greatest engineers the world had ever seen. Meet Hero of Alexandria, a teacher and inventor building working machines in the 1st century, while most of the world still farmed by hand. Hero built a sphere that spun on its own using nothing but steam. Water boiled below it, steam shot from 2 bent nozzles, and the ball whipped around like a sprinkler. He had invented the steam engine 1,700 years before the Industrial Revolution. And here's the maddening part. He thought it was just a toy, and the idea was set down and forgotten for almost 2,000 years. Steam was only the start. Hero built the world's first vending machine. Drop a bronze coin into a slot in a temple, its weight tipped a hidden lever, and out poured a measured splash of holy water. Insert coin, receive product, in the 1st century. He built temple doors that opened by themselves. Priests lit a fire on the altar. Hidden air pressure did the work, and the massive doors swung wide as if the gods had answered. It was special effects, 2,000 years ago. He built a cart that drove itself along a set path. A falling weight pulled a rope wound around pegs, and by moving the pegs, you changed where it went. Historians call it one of the first programmable machines ever made. He even built the first machine ever driven by the wind, a wind wheel that pumped an organ, 1,000 years before the first European windmill. Hero was standing on the shoulders of an even earlier genius from the same city, Ctesibius of Alexandria, the father of pneumatics. Ctesibius built a water clock so precise it remained the most accurate timekeeper on Earth for over 1,800 years, until the invention of the pendulum clock. The secret was a self-correcting float that held the water flowing at a perfectly constant rate. That is feedback control, the same principle that runs your car's cruise control and your home thermostat today. Ctesibius also gave the world its first keyboard instrument, a pipe organ powered by water pressure, loud enough to be heard across an entire stadium. These engineers even automated the most boring job of all, measuring distance. The Roman odometer was a set of gears on a cartwheel that dropped 1 pebble into a box for every mile traveled. At the end of the day, you counted the pebbles. In the heart of Athens still stands the Tower of the Winds, an 8-sided marble tower with 8 sundials outside, a water clock running inside, and a bronze weather vane on top. It is the world's first weather station, and it has survived for over 2,000 years. Then there is the Archimedes screw, a spiral inside a tube that lifts water uphill with a simple turn of a handle. It is so brilliantly simple that we still use the exact same design today in water treatment plants and even flood defenses. And if you think that is impressive, hold on, because the next inventions are the ones people refuse to believe are real. Make sure you are subscribed, because this is only Chapter 1. Leave the Mediterranean and travel to ancient China. In the year 132, a brilliant scholar named Zhong Heng built a machine that could do the impossible, detect a far-off earthquake. It was a beautiful bronze urn ringed with 8 dragon heads, each holding a ball. When a quake struck, hidden pendulums dropped a ball from the dragon facing its direction. The records say it once caught an earthquake 400 miles away that no one in the capital had felt, and days later, messengers arrived to confirm it. The Chinese also built the south-pointing chariot. They figure on top, always pointed south, no matter how many times the cart turned, and it was not magnetic. It used a differential gear, the very mechanism that lets the wheels of your car turn corners today. Ancient engineers poured genius into war as well. The Greeks built the polybolos, a catapult with a chain drive that reloaded itself and fired bolt after bolt after bolt. A repeating weapon, powered by a chain 2,000 years before the machine gun. And when the Roman army laid siege to the city of Syracuse, they ran straight into the greatest mind of the ancient world, Archimedes. He designed a giant claw, a crane arm that reached over the city walls, dropped a hook onto a Roman warship, and flipped it clean out of the water. Roman soldiers were said to flee in terror, and modern engineers have built working models that prove it really works. Legend also says he used a wall of polished mirrors to focus sunlight and set enemy ships on fire. That one is probably a myth. Modern tests show it would have been nearly impossible, so we file it under great story, shaky science. Want a genuine ancient robot? An engineer named Philo of Byzantium built a human-shaped figure that served drinks. Place a cup in her hand, and she poured you wine, then automatically mixed in the right amount of water. A robot bartender, powered by hidden tubes and air, over 2,000 years ago. Now, I promised to keep this honest, so here is the famous one you have seen in clickbait, the Baghdad Battery. It is a real clay jar, with a copper tube and an iron rod inside, and yes, it does look a lot like a battery. Some claim the ancients used it to generate electricity, even to plate gold. But here is the truth. Most archaeologists now believe it was simply used to store scrolls. The battery idea is a fascinating theory, not a proven fact. So step back and look at what we have found. The ancient world had steam power. It had precision gears, feedback control, vending machines, programmable carts, and mechanical robots. Every building block of the modern age was sitting right there 2,000 years ago. So why did the world wait until the 1700s for the Industrial Revolution? The answer is uncomfortable. These societies ran on cheap human and slave labor, so almost no one saw the point of a machine to do the work. The technology was never the missing piece. The reason to use it was. Imagine where we would be if they had connected those dots. The ancients did not lack the genius. History just took a very, very long detour. That was Chapter 1. If it rewired how you see the ancient world, hit subscribe and tell me in the comments which one blew your mind. Next time, the ancient surgical tools that look exactly like the ones in a hospital today, and the operations they performed without anesthesia.